I can't tell you how sorry.
It's a moment that speaks volumes. Chris Eubank, one of boxing's most flamboyant and fearless fighters, brought to tears, confronting a painful reality that haunted him for 3 decades. Eubank was on top of the world, a British boxing icon with a brash personality and a style that captivated fans and critics alike. Known for his eccentricity, sharp fashion, and poetic flair, Eubank was not just a fighter. He was a performer, a man who thrived under the spotlight. But on September 21st, 1991, under those very lights, something went tragically wrong. Eubank first met Michael Watson earlier that year. Watson, the lanky, skilled boxer with a calm demeanor, was a formidable opponent. Their first clash was a brutal, evenly matched contest, with both fighters pushing their limits. Eubank narrowly edged out Watson in a controversial decision, leaving a bitter taste in the mouths of many fans. But it was their rematch, just 3 months later, that would go down in history, not just for the fight, but for the devastating aftermath. The atmosphere in White Hart Lane was electric. This time, it wasn't just about skill. It was about pride, redemption, and proving who was the better man. From the opening bell, it was clear that both fighters had come with a point to prove. Watson pressed forward relentlessly, showing a level of aggression that Eubank hadn't seen before. The fight was a war of attrition, each round more punishing than the last, with Watson gradually gaining the upper hand. By the 11th round, Watson was in control, landing clean shots and putting Eubank on the defensive. Then, in the dying moments of the round, Watson connected with a combination that sent Eubank crashing to the canvas. It was the first knockdown of Eubank's career, and it seemed like the end was near. But as Watson moved in for the finish, Eubank, summoning all his strength, unleashed a desperate uppercut that caught Watson flush. The punch was brutal, snapping Watson's head back. Watson staggered, dazed, but somehow made it to his feet to start the 12th round. What followed was a harrowing scene. Eubank, fueled by adrenaline and desperation, launched an onslaught that left Watson helpless in the corner, forcing the referee to step in.
He's going to dive in, and he stopped it in the last round.
As Eubank celebrated his improbable victory, Watson collapsed in his corner, his legs giving way beneath him. The severity of the situation quickly became apparent. Watson's condition deteriorated rapidly as he had suffered a severe brain injury, but the real tragedy was the failure of the emergency response. No paramedics, no immediate medical attention. By the time Watson reached a hospital, critical minutes had been lost. He underwent multiple surgeries to remove a blood clot from his brain, but was left with life-altering damage, paralysis, and a long, agonizing road to partial recovery. For Eubank, the victory came at a price that no championship belt could ever outweigh. He was devastated, carrying the weight of guilt for what had happened. Boxing was never the same for him. The killer instinct that had defined his career seemed to vanish. Watson, however, against all odds, fought back in the years that followed. It was a slow and painful journey, marked by small victories. In 2003, Watson achieved the impossible. He completed the London Marathon, taking 6 days to cross the finish line, a testament to his indomitable spirit. Beside him, every step of the way, were his neurosurgeon and Chris Eubank himself, symbolizing a bond forged in tragedy. It took 30 years for Eubank and Watson to come face to face and publicly address the pain that had lingered between them.
You know, him having to go through what he's gone through and to still be here and to, it's, I can't tell you how sorry. I can't tell you how sorry. Yeah, it's
Come on, Chris, it's alright, it's okay, bro. Let's move on in life. Peace and love. I love you, Chris. That's all in the past. Let's move on in life, Chris. We're here together. Let's live in love. I love you, Chris. Let's move on. We are born warriors. We are real. God bless you, Chris. One love. God bless.
It was a powerful moment of healing, not just for Watson, but for Eubank as well. A reminder of the fragility of life and the resilience of the human spirit. The echoes of that tragic night in 1991 reverberated years later when Eubank's son, Chris Eubank Jr., faced Nick Blackwell in the ring. Blackwell was a tough, relentless fighter willing to endure any punishment to achieve victory. As Eubank Jr. landed punishing uppercuts, Chris Eubank Sr., watching ringside, was taken back to the fight with Watson. He saw the danger and remembered the consequences.
He's blocking a lot of these, but he needs to fight back.
And you keep on beating him like this. One, he's getting hurt. Two, if it goes to a decision, why hasn't the referee stopped the fight? I don't get why. So maybe you shouldn't leave it to the referee. But you're not going to take him out to the face. You're going to take him out to the body. Okay.
Looking at the damage Blackwell incurred, Eubank Sr. urged his son to target the body instead of the head, desperate to avoid a repeat of the past. The fight was eventually stopped on medical grounds, with Blackwell suffering severe injuries. He was rushed to the hospital, where he was placed in coma for a week. Thankfully, due to quicker intervention, Blackwell survived, though his boxing career was over. The doctors managed to stop the bleeding in his skull. But in 2016, Blackwell, now a trainer, was rushed to the hospital while he tried to spar. A part of his skull had to be removed as his brain was bleeding again and was wheelchaired after the incident. He had a long and grueling recovery, after which he also ran a marathon raising funds for brain injury research. It was a chilling reminder of how close Eubank Jr. had come to living the same nightmare as his father. Chris Eubank Sr.'s actions that night weren't just about coaching. They were about redemption, ensuring that his son wouldn't carry the same burden of guilt that he had. Chris Eubank's journey to forgiveness has been filled with emotional scars. In their poignant reunion, they shared a moment of humanity that transcended the sport's brutality. It highlighted that true victory lies in respect, forgiveness, and the strength to move forward. In a heartwarming twist, Nick Blackwell met Michael Watson, showcasing the enduring spirit of these warriors.
You thought Eubank and I thought Chris Eubank Jr. So no things three exactly the same thing. And you're a champion as well, man.
That's one to know.
Exactly.
We are the boys.
We are the boys.
It's a reminder of the sport's capacity for healing and connection. Surprisingly, 99% of our viewers aren't subscribed, and your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. So, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel.